Hey guys, so today bringing you another video and welcome back to Patch Note Breakdown. This is for 14.22, which again, we're in November, which is ridiculous. I'm uploading this obviously the night I'm recording it, but I will say, and I want to just say it ahead of time, it may not be my best Patch Note video ever. Basically here in the UK, it's bonfire night, Guy Fawkes night, whatever you want to call it, basically fireworks night. And it's 20 to 8 at the moment. And we've had a few fireworks stuff going around, my house, and Maya is really not doing well. So Queen Plebber said, try and record. If she's really bad and she needs both of us, then she'll disturb me and I'll have to record another time. But if you're watching this, then we got through it. But I'm going to go through it pretty quick, is what I would say. My glasses are all smudgy from Maya licking me. But yeah, so we've got nerfs too. Aatrox, Anivia, Corki, Alawi, Jax, Cassante, again, this champion. Lilia, Mordekaiser, Poppy, which I agree with, Seraphine, Shen, Silas, Syndra, and Udyr. Okay. Buffs too, Blitzcrank, Briar, Fizz, Katarina, which is hilarious to me, because literally I had a Katarina on the enemy team earlier, took over, was solo killing a Syndra in early levels. She's not weak. Kale, Rumble, Swain, which obviously his rework or mini, update, it was apparent it definitely launched weak. Varus, Vayne, Vel'Koz, Vi, and Wukong. We've got adjustments to Aurelia, Maokai, Warwick. We've got system changes to Barrier, Bounty Visualization, Minion Speed, Opportunity, Smite Targeting, Static Shiv, Yumu's Ghostblade, and Yun Tal. We're getting the new champion, Ambessa, obviously, and Arcane Season 2 is launching this week. I'm not at liberty to say that out loud, but I'm just excited for it. And what I will say is Riot did send me a big box to open tomorrow. I'm allowed to open it tomorrow, the Wednesday the 6th. So I will be doing that on stream. I'm going to stream in the afternoon after my gym and everything, and I'll open that on stream. And I'm planning to kind of make, hopefully, if it works out well, a edited version of it, and I'll upload that probably as a short form YouTube short or something. And maybe I'll upload it to social media as well. So then the skin line that's coming out is like the Chosen of the Wolf, and I think that the idea behind that is it's kind of like the I don't know, the elite task force of Noxus or something like that. But yeah, so Ambessa is here. I do have she's either going to release with a under 40% win rate, or she's going to release with an above 60% win rate. I don't know which one it's going to be. But yeah. Systems, so bounty tracking. Bounties don't show up on the scoreboard as often as they should. We're fixing that. Bounties now show on the scoreboard after 100 gold instead of 150. Side lane minions. Last year we made mid and side lane minion waves crash at the exact same time, so that if a mid laner cleared their wave and then roamed, side laners would have likely cleared their wave as well. So they could basically clear their wave and walk back to safety. We're walking this change back about halfway now. Now they'll still meet at the same time very early on, but that will gradually desync over time. So this is a buff to roaming mid laners. So they're buffing Katarina this patch, and that's a buff to roaming mid laners. Oh boy. Giving more and more time for mid laners to roam into side lanes to create action. Ugh. We're lowering this bonus with game time in order to make super early lanes still relatively protected, but make post 6 roams easier and easier. Like, I don't know what Riot's obsession with roaming is, but, I like... Everyone's different, but for me, I want to play mid lane, I want to beat my opponent mid lane, and half the time when you're playing against a roaming mid laner, because it's so apparent nowadays, you're not laning against that player. Like, half the time, a Katarina isn't in mid, and it's just a bit boring if you're the other mid laner in that situation who can't roam. But anyway, there's that. Champion changes. Aatrox, his total attack damage is going down, which, remember everybody, like that will also impact, well, it impacts everything. But yeah, so 20 is staying the same in terms of percentage. 32.5 is going down to 30. The bigger nerf though is at level 16, 45 to 40. So that obviously, when it comes to Aatrox, the more damage he does, the more healing he does, it impacts his whole kit. So that will be a nerf he will likely feel. Anivia, See, the thing with Anivia, and obviously, yes, I do have personal bias to this champion. I don't play her anymore because I actually don't think she's very good. And like some people go, if you look at her statistics, her win rate's not bad or anything. It's true. And it might be my style of Anivia isn't very good. Like I said earlier, I don't like roaming. I want to beat my opponent in the 1v1. Anivia is still incredibly good at doing that. And also, if you get Anivia to mid to late game and she gets 4+ items, she's still incredible. Where I suffer and where I've lost my enjoyment on this champion is what I said, like literally about roaming mid laners, is most of the time I'm playing Anivia, one of two things happens. One, I get camped like mad, and she's not amazing in early 2v1s. She's very immobile. She's one of the slowest champions in the game. And then secondly, if your opponent just roams, Anivia, as I literally just said, is one of the slowest champions in the game, so her incentive to roam doesn't exist. She doesn't have early prio in terms of roaming. She has not bad early prio when it comes to 1v1ing in lane, and you can do some good plays, but the moment that goes out of lane, you're the vulnerable one. Like, if you get caught out running down to bot lane in river, because how slow you are, you probably are going to be dead. It just doesn't give that incentive to do it, and that just is where the game's gone in a lot of ways. And I think, again, in a lot of... It's what I've said about mages in general. Mages feel a lot more powerful than they have been in years when you're playing against another mage. When it's a mage versus mage matchup, both of them probably will get quite strong. But when it's a mage still versus something non-mage, a lot of the time it seems the mage still struggles. And they might eventually pop off late game, like a Syndra can just one-shot everything. But they'll likely get quite behind in the early, even if it's not even about scaling. Even if you're against something hyper scaling in mid lane, you know, and you're playing a hyper scaling mage, you still won't have that prowess in the early game, even if the other thing isn't an early game thing anyway. But, you know, armor growth is going down, and then her damage of her E is getting a 5% AP nerf. So it is what it is. I don't really play her anymore, so it doesn't really impact me, which is a shame. Blitzcrank, E damage increased. So again, a lot of people forget, by the way, Blitzcrank, by his design, is not a support, and people go, oh, what the hell are you talking about? Yeah, Blitzcrank is a fighter. In his original design, he was supposed to be a top laner, but like, kinda. When Blitzcrank was made was when the game was very, very new, and there weren't roles. Like, there weren't pre-existing, oh, this goes there and this goes there. It was kind of a free-for-all. So some people even played Blitzcrank mid. You know, he didn't really have a defined role, but obviously over the last decade, you know, even over a decade now, he is a support. But it's where, you know, he does have non-support aspects of his kit. He has some fighter aspects of his kit, and they're giving him a total AD bonus to his E. So that one Blitzcrank top main still is absolutely jumping for joy right now. But it probably won't do that much. Briar. Base health increased. Briar was one of the most effective champions from Blade the Ruined King's recent nerf. Yeah, I could kind of see that. But again, there was obviously a lethality build a while ago going around. But that kind of seems to be put to the side. So yeah. So if her base health is going up, that will help with early game fights. It'll help with early game in, you know, skirmishes, even clearing to a certain extent, even though her sustain is crazy. It's a nice thing to basically give Briar, which they a lot of the time take PTA nowadays, just to give her that extra level of confidence. And to some people, you know, that's a 35 increase. That's nothing. It's a decent amount. In a pure 1v1 skirmish, that's the difference sometimes of dying versus not dying. You know, that's the difference of you getting the kill versus getting killed. So that actually is not that bad. It's again, in higher MMRs, that is the difference versus a champion being good or bad. So yeah. Corki, AD growth and mana growth decrease, again, has crazily become very overpowered. And you can see here is Corki flew all the way past viable and landed in overpowered. So yeah, they can't seem really to make this champion work. They changed his kit obviously a while ago from doing magic damage and being a poke champion that doesn't really interact with anybody, to then an AD carry champion that does so much burst. So this doesn't really impact that a lot, I will say. Like, his AD growth going down from 2.5 to 2, that's a big nerf to attack damage growth. Like, that's quite a big one. So it will impact it a bit. And then mana growth, that's also quite effective because obviously Corki likes to spam his abilities. If anything, that will make maybe Manamune a more popular option on him just to have that mana. But I don't know, I maybe was expecting a bit more when it comes to his actual abilities, but this is a pretty big nerf. So yeah. Fizz, Q and W damage increased. A gold Fizz damage buffs, all like AD carry players and immobile mid players are probably shaking right now. The damage of it is staying the same, but the AP ratio is going up by 10%. That's pretty decent. And the W, the active damage is going up by 5%. So just pure damage nerfs to Fizz. Which again, let's be honest, burst mage items are still not that bad. Storm Surge isn't too bad now. Shadow thingy majig isn't that bad right now. So Fizz, I would say situationally, could be very strong. And that's the problem with Fizz. He is a situational AP assassin. He doesn't have the same prowess as Katarina or Akali does. He's kind of a tier below them. But that will definitely help him a bit, for sure. Alawi. Base AD and mana growth decrease. So Alawi has been crushing it lately. I was going to say, I have not seen this. But then they said, especially in lower MMRs. So I guess that's why. The attack damage base is going down by 3 and the mana growth is going down by 10. So that is basically chunking her early game down. But that's completely fine. Alawi is not supposed to be an early game champ. So when you are fundamentally a mid to late game champion, you shouldn't have a good early game. It's where, like, I don't remember if Jax is being nerfed here. Jax confuses the living hell out of me. That champion is weirdly way too strong early and still hyperscales. What? Where's the negative, you know? So there's that. Aurelia. So this was actually... Oh, there is Jax there. Aurelia, passive duration, refreshes on structures and deals half damage to structures. Oh. Oh, wow. That's actually a pretty nice buff. I wouldn't even call that a small buff. That's a big buff for good Aurelia players that are going to integrate this well. To a bad Aurelia player, they're not going to really massively use this to refresh the passive, to then keep the passive alive for as long as possible, to then go for a different play. But, yeah, I'd say that's pretty powerful in the hands of a strong Aurelia player. So, yeah. And obviously she'll be doing more damage to structures because where before her passive did nothing to them, it's now doing 50% of what it could be, but that's more than 0%. So, yeah, well. Mr. Jax. So, yeah, Jax, as I literally just said, is doing, you know, way too well for being a late game champion. So his R cooldown has been increased and his damage has been also... The damage of it has also been decreased. So... It's a longer cooldown, 10 seconds per rank, which again doesn't sound like a lot, but it will make him feel a little less oppressive, especially early. And then damage of it is gone down considerably, 50 damage per rank, scaling up actually. So 50, then 75, then 100 less damage, and that's the base damage of when you activate it. If someone is in range, that's just less damage. So I'm okay with that. And, you know, when I say early game, I'm even kind of saying, like, level 6 Jax shouldn't be really that strong. He is a hyper-scaling 1v1 and held sometimes more than that, like, skirmish fighter that gets crazy damage, but also gets decently tanky. He shouldn't have a great... Like, he should be starting to get strong. I think of Gangplank, right? Gangplank's known as a hyperscaler. Yeah, Gangplank's power spike, historically, has been level 13. Level 13. Like, it kind of is level 12 now with the recent changes that they did last patch. But, like, level 12, level 13 is when Gangplank comes a bit online. That's what Jax should be like. He comes online at level 6. So, yeah. Katarina, I will say I have started to ban this champion a bit again, especially, like, I've noticeable, I'm starting to play a bit of mid lane again. I'm enjoying it. And I'm playing basically what I'm in the mood to play. Whenever I'm mid, I'm banning Katarina because I fundamentally just do not like this champion. Everything she stands for, but at the same point, it's also a tactical ban because I do still think for solo queue she's incredibly powerful, but it's also the other flip of the coin of she's a one-trick champ. So whenever you ban a Katarina out, it's a 99% chance that player is the one-trick Katarina. That's all they play. And they really struggle. And a lot of the time, if you ban them out, their mental goes boom if they don't do very well. So for me, it's always an effective ban. So what are they doing? Again, if I'm playing mid lane, it doesn't matter because I ban the champ. The only place that I don't really ban the champ is if right now if I'm not playing mid, I don't ban her. If I'm playing top lane, I ban Riven. But these changes, depending what they are, could make me just ban Katarina 24/7 again. So we'll see. Her cooldown on her E is going down 2 seconds early game buffs. Oh god. And then her Death Lotus cooldown is going down considerably at level 6. Oh god, really? You're giving her much, much more powerful early game snowballing capabilities. Right. Yeah, like, again, as I said, I already ban her when I play mid. I'm not really playing support at the moment. I'm mainly playing top of mid, but any support games, I think I'd ban Katarina because she'd just be living in bot lane as she normally does. Jungle, maybe I'd ban Katarina because there's not really any other jungler I care about banning. The only place that I wouldn't ban a Katarina is maybe when I play top. I'd probably still ban Riven, but I think she's going to become my default ban if I'm not top lane. Oh, God. Kayle, passive attack speed increased. Buffs for Kayle is always scary. So attack speed per stack was 6% per stack, but then she used to get 0.5% attack speed per 100 AP. It's now 1% attack speed per 100 AP. Oh, okay. I'll say something that this is maybe going to change her build. It's a build that some people have been doing, and it actually hasn't been amazing, but it's going to make this better. And then max attack speed was 30%, 2.5% per 100 AP. It's now 30% with 5% per 100 AP. So the build that I'm kind of considering, like, would it be good, is that Nashor's still first item. It's fundamentally the Kayle item. And then some people have been doing Shadow Flame into Death Cap. And I've been like, that build isn't great. It'll be a lot better now because that's a lot of ability power and you'll be gaining a lot more attack speed. So like where normally you'd want like Rage Blade or something to kind of keep your attack speed going, well, actually having more ability power is giving you higher spell damage, but then it's actually still giving you the attack speed. So that build of Nashor's Shadow Flame Death Cap probably will become her default build. So there's that. Cassante, an absolute mess of a champion that it's impossible to get right because the problem is he is unbalanceable. The kit is the problem. And again, Riot, I guess, just hasn't worked this out. And, we're seeing Ambessa probably going to become, Cassante 2.0. We'll probably see her in patch notes all the time. The problem and I've said this for years, when your kit is simply broken by default, it's impossible to balance. The only thing that Cassante will ever be is either weak or OP. There's no in between when his kit is this strong. Because the only things that they can realistically do, unless they change the kit properly, is nerf or buff his numbers. So if you nerf the numbers enough, then he'll be useless because his numbers are too bad. If you buff him, and this is the problem, people go, but there'll be a sweet spot. No, because his kit is that good. Even if his numbers are average, they're just dead set. Oh, that's correct. His kit is so unbalanced, he will be a problem. So technically, to make this champion balanced, his numbers actually have to be a lot lower than they technically should be. In terms of his percentages, his damage numbers, his tanky number, everything should be lower because his kit has so much power in it. A very simple champion who doesn't have much power in their kit needs stronger stats. A kit that is fundamentally this strong needs way less stats. That's, I think, the problem that Riot's kind of having, and I think Ambessa's probably going to be the same. But yeah, so his Q, which obviously is his kind of spam ability in lane, the damage of it is going down, which again is good because he's a tank that shouldn't do damage, but there's that. But then plus 40% bonus resistances, so that's, again, fundamentally the problem is he gains damage from his resistances. Tanks shouldn't be doing a lot of damage, but he does. And there's footwork. He's actually getting a buff to his mobility of all things. When he's in his ultimate, his E is going to be more oppressive. Is that a preemptive buff, knowing that he's going to be fighting Ambessa for the whole next patch or something? But yeah. Odd champion. Lilia, armor growth decreased, passive heal over time decreased. 2 nerfs to the champ, so a decent less armor, so she'll be more vulnerable to early AD attacks. And the healing, monster heal over time, is being nerfed to its flat rate, but it's getting an AP ratio, so it'll probably be eventually better in late game. I'm honestly fine with any type of like healing nerfs. I will hold the opinion jungle is way too forgiving right now. In terms of it's supposed to be, and it is the most challenging role of all 5, but it's way too easy to just stay in the jungle and just heal constantly, and it's too forgiving. I do hope that they tone that down, and obviously a lot of that is from the pets, because the pets heal you, and you heal obviously from doing camps and stuff. I think it's too much at the moment. But then when you also have a champion that obviously, you know, the pet and the camp killing is healing you, and she has a heal in her own kit, she's never low ever. So and if she does get low from a gank, she can run into the jungle and she get back to full health straight away. So yeah, I'm not surprised by that nerf. Maokai, a champion that kind of comes into meta big and then just falls out of meta completely, and then eventually will come back into meta really big. It's because of any an individual champion, he provides so much CC, good engage CC, good follow up CC. You know, he's tanky. His obviously was very unhealthy when his damage of his saplings was insane, but yeah, he's a good champ. Like, he just does have his issues. So his movement speed is going up. That's a good thing for a slow, tanky champion. His base health is also going up, which is very good for his early game, which is typically his weakness. And his sapling toss, the movement speed of the sapling. So it used to scale based on what boots you've got. It's now scaling on your level. So I guess that's better. So you don't have to rush tier 1, tier 2 boots, I guess. Fair enough. Mordekaiser, E damage decreased. Damage of it. Whoa, that's a big nerf. He's dominating in low MMR brackets. His damage is going down 10 per rank in base damage, and it's a 20% AP nerf. Damn. Technically, his E shouldn't be doing the damage. It's the CC ability, right? It's the drag, you come back to me. So it shouldn't be doing a lot of damage, and maybe it was doing too much damage. Obviously, where his majority of his damage is his Q and his passive. So they haven't been hit, but hey. Poppy, yeah, damage nerf this champion. I'm completely fine with that, by the way, because I do play this champion from time to time, and even in my videos, people are kind of going, what? Her damage is just too high. The funny thing is, it actually doesn't look like these are massive nerfs. For AD, it does sound like a lot. It's not that bad. And then level 1 attack speed is going up. And she also runs Haler Blades. Huh? Again, what? We hope to nail this support skew by attacking her base AD, which feeds into Haler Blades, Blood Song, and Deadman's, while compensating a bit of attack speed to keep her sustained in top and jungle. Oh. I don't think that's going to do anything, to be honest. Because, that affects top and jungle. It still benefits support. It doesn't negatively impact support having her attack speed. Weird. Rumble, base health increased, going up. Nice, pretty good. You don't see a lot of Rumble, but usually when you see a Rumble, I don't know about you guys, they pop off. Whenever you see a Rumble, it's like, whoa, they kill everything. So, cool. Seraphine, this champion. Seraphine has crept up a little too high in bot lane, so we're trying to deliver a nerf in hopes that we keep the AP carries skewed while leaving support Seraphine less effective. Again, the problem that you've got, it's similar, hilariously, to Cassante, right? Cassante is 2 halves. He's a tank, but he also does damage. It's really hard to balance that. It's really hard to balance a champion that has 2 roles. Properly 2 roles. And 2 roles that are opposite each other. You have carry, and you've got support. They are fundamentally opposite each other, but there's some champions like Seraphine and, Senna. They are hard to balance, because if you make it that it is a viable carry, well then what's the negative of playing it support? Because then it still is giving you the support aspects, but then it does a lot of damage. But then, oh, it doesn't do damage, but it does support stuff. But then people that want to play it in the carry way, they are really like out of their luck. It's really difficult. It's where it's a lot easier if you want a balanced game of League of Legends. You go, hey guys, we're designing this to be this. It's this. End of. That's what it is. And I know to some people that's not as exciting. It's a lot easier to balance. Shen, very cool champion. I had a really good game of Shen today, and I will say it will be a POV commentary because I was against a Tryndamere. I think that probably speaks for itself. It was very annoying in the early to mid game, but we big-brained and we played really well, and the way that we turned around my luck in the game, I will say, was by being smart. Actively being smart, using my brain, building correctly in the situation that we were in. I didn't build Heartsteel, and people even in Twitch chat were coming and going, oh, there's no Heartsteel on Shen. There's a genuine reason for it. Like, I go and I'll in the POV commentary, I've not recorded the POV part yet, I will go into that. I was explaining it to the audience that, after the rough early to mid game, I could explain it, and people in Twitch are like, oh my god, that makes so much sense. So look out for that. They'll probably be at the end of the week. But yeah, it was a really good game. So his passive, which is obviously when he presses an ability, he gains a shield, is going up on cooldown. And the cooldown refund is getting better, technically. And from memory, again, this is where my memory is so bad. I think he gets it refunded if you drag the sword through a target or the sword hits a target. I think that's where he gets a slight cooldown refund. I think. Let me know if that is correct. But yeah, there's that. So for good Shens, they eventually won't really feel it that much because he'll be getting the refund near enough. It'll be about the same. And then his ultimate, the shield is going down a lot in... Ooh, a lot. Yeah. So the shield was 130, 290, 450 in base. It's now 120, 220, so that's 70 nerf, and then 320, plus, I presume they've missed a percentage there, 16% bonus HP. It's now 15% bonus HP. But then, obviously, with Shen Ultimate, the way it works is the lower percentage your teammate is when you ult them, the bigger the shield can be. So that's where sometimes you don't want to ult straight away because it's a small shield. But the max shield was 208, 464, 720, plus the bonus HP. Now, the max is 192, 352, a level 11, that's a huge nerf. And also, level 16, from 720 to 512. And it's not like, oh, he gains bonus health. Yeah, that's also going down. So, Shen's, let's say, level 16, and you've got a bunch of health. You could have, easily 1500, 1600 bonus HP from items by level 16. Yeah, that's like hundreds of shielding gone. Damn. That's a lot. Swain, again, launched his rework quite weak, but I have heard there's some good things about it. There's Twitch chat was telling me today there's like the #1 ranked rank 1 Swain player. He's kind of made a new build, and it does seem to be working okay. So I will probably try that build because I've been kind of waiting for him to get a buff. People have been asking me, how's play the new Swain? But I'm like, I've just heard it's so weak. So what I'll do, maybe tomorrow, I'll play the new Swain, but in mid lane, that's where I want to play him, and I'll try that new build as well. It's nothing radical, by the way. It's literally like Cosmic Drive and stuff. It's like Blackfire, so the mana burn item, Cosmic, so makes you kind of speedy and gives you ability cooldown, and they're kind of like the core items. So we'll try that. And he's getting kind of buffs everywhere. So magic resist increase helps the mid lane if you're against AP. Q damage increased, E cooldown reduced at lower ranks, and R healing increased. So it's all buffs. So yeah, we'll give him a go tomorrow. Mr. Silas, hilariously, I made that commentary a few nights ago saying, Silas, I need to play Silas. Yeah, I've not played one game of him yet. I've had 2 recording sessions. I've not played one game of him. My bad. I will, but I've just been playing other champs. I've been playing a decent amount of Vex. I've enjoyed that for my mid games, so yeah. But he's getting less health growth, which is good. His damage is crazy, but it's supposed to be. His survivability sometimes is too high. So how do you hit his survivability? You can hit it in two ways: by his health or by his healing. So they're nerfing it from his health. Syndra, W damage decrease, 5% AP nerf with also some base damage starting at rank 2, and then yeah, a 20 damage nerf eventually. But I'm okay with that. Like her W is, I think, the one that does true damage eventually when it gets empowered. So that is a nerf for sure. But she does a crazy amount of 1v1 like individual damage. So I think she still has the power in her kit that she'll still be okay. Like, she's probably a bit too strong in damage right now, and I think this is better than nerfing her Q or ultimate. It's more forgiving, I will say. Udyr. Oh, this champion. Udyr's Q max builds are doing fine, but the R max builds are performing too well as of late. And I'll say the R builds are, how do I say? You don't have to be very good to make R max Udyr work. Like, Udyr's not a skill-based champion anyway, but you run around with Leandries and then tank stuff, so you're nearly unkillable. You do burn damage, and then the ultimate is just, you know, the R is around you, and then you can cast it at somebody with the empower, and it chases them and does damage. Like, it's a bit too strong for how easy it is to pull off, and I think that's fundamentally his problem. So the damage of it is going down, eventually starting at rank 2, with a decent damage nerf at max. Staying the same AP ratio, though, but the actual empowered damage, which again, he gets empowered damage of his Phoenix ability when he's sending it at somebody from his max HP. So that's where, when he's really late game, that does a crazy amount of damage. So 8% to 16% of his max HP with level scaling involved. It's now 8% to 14%, so 2% less. It's still a lot when Udyr himself has a lot of, you know, HP. And then monster cap is also happening as well, so it slows down his jungle clear a bit. Varus, W damage increase, so that will help with on hit, you know, Blade the Ruined King, Ginsu's builds. That's fair. Vayne, I played against a Vayne today, and I'll say it was a funny game. I played Teemo. We were in top lane. Enjoy that game. So she didn't seem weak, I will say. That player was a funny player. All I'll say is the player that we played against playing Vayne, she was a 2-trick. She played Vayne and Riven top lane. Both of them had a 40% something win rate, like mid-40s, like 43 to 45% win rates on her 2 champions. She is struggling, that player, for sure. But yeah. Bonus attack damage when she's in ultimate, though, is going up by 10 AD each rank. Will help her Vayne a bit. Vel'Koz, E and R cooldowns decrease at lower ranks. Oh, really? Oh my god, AZAP right now is absolutely, like, drooling at the mouth. There's actually a build I've been meaning to try on Vel'Koz. AZAP, who obviously is, like, lol Jesus, and the Vel'Koz god, he has been rushing Horizon Focus. And if you're accurate, which if you're playing Vel'Koz, you know, that's the whole point of the champion, it's incredibly powerful. So I might give this a go, especially he's just been buffs. Because I don't even know if AZAP himself would consider Vel'Koz weak, but he obviously is just at a different level of this champion than everybody else. Like, it's very rare, I will say, that you can fundamentally say that that player is the best at that champion in probably the world. AZAP is. Like, pros, you know, he went to Korea whenever it was, and he made Vel'Koz in the best win rate mid laner. Like, when the champion wasn't that good. Like, he is, you know, sure, if you gave Faker or any of the amazing mid laners, give them a month to kind of really play Vel'Koz and hone in their skills, yeah, maybe they'd get better at Vel'Koz than AZAP. But right now, or right today, he is the best Vel'Koz. So, yeah. Cooldown, though, of his E is going down early. That's really nice. That honestly helps a lot with support, but still helps mid a bit. And then the ultimate is going down 20 seconds in the early game. Whoa, damn, nice. So no absolute damage buffs, because I think his damage is fine, but cooldowns, nice. Vi, again, Arcane Season 2 is coming out. Vi is getting a new Arcane skin. Boom, she's getting buffed. Anyone? No, I don't know. Shield, 12% max HP. It's now 14% max HP. She doesn't really build a lot of HP, but she builds a bit, I guess. Triforce, Black Cleaver, Sundered Sky. They all have HP on it. They're just not massive HP items. But yeah, there's that. Oh, Warwick, another arcane champion. Oh, God. Whoa. Whoa. Model size increased by 15%. That is a nerf. That's a big nerf. Why is that a nerf? I hear people asking from the balcony above. He's going to get hit. Oh, Warwick's major counter is CC, right? He's a very, I'm just going forward and I'm attacking you and healing, you know, similar to a Master Yi. Like, they're very basic. They do their job well. And how you stop them is just going CC. So if your model is bigger, it's easier to get hit by CC. Like, where something like a stun or let's say a Lux Q or a Morgana Bind, where that missed you before, 15% increase, that's basically a 15% bigger radius, right? It will now hit you. That's a nerf. Ooh. I'd imagine he's getting buffs basically in every other way, though. His W, so his Blood Hunt, is going down in mana cost. The cooldown is going down. The passive spells now also trigger the attack speed when used to damage enemies under 50% health. The attack speed granted by attacks and spells now linger between attacks. It used to be bonuses from passive was 250% increase on enemies under 20%. It's now 200% increase on enemies under 25%, so a 5% better threshold. Cooldown reduction was ticks twice as fast while no one is hunted. Now is refunds 30% if no one is found by the active. And then active lockout removed is no longer locks out casting or champion combat. Whoa, okay. They're all really nice buffs. And then the E, auto attack lockout after casting E was 0.5 seconds, now 0.25. So when you pressed E, you for half a second couldn't start auto attacking to heal again. That's being halved, so you can start auto attacking quicker. And then the ultimate, the hit radius is going up, probably because, you know, his model's going up. So that's a benefit of his models going up, is his ultimate will be more forgiving in what it's hitting. And then new clause in front now only latches onto champions in front of Warwick. Oh. I guess, like, if you technically hit... This is probably a buff, but it's more of a quality life update. And what I mean by that, let's say you're playing Warwick top lane, and you're ulting away, like you're escaping a gank. If the enemy was, like, next to you, like they're on the side, it might, instead of jumping away, it might have accidentally latched to the person who was to your side. So that's kind of a quality of life update. So it's a big nerf with this. It's a buff in every other regard. So, damn. Wukong. Base mana increase, W cooldown decrease at lower ranks. Oh, I'll have to check, man. Every time on Twitter that they do anything patch note, there's a crazy Wukong one trick that every single time it's patch notes, he is full cap saying what they need to do. Like, it's mad. I wonder if he'll be happy. Probably not, let's be honest. They're those type of people, and this is something you have to realize, will never be happy. Ever. Because then, if Wukong becomes too OP, then they're still not, you know, if he becomes too strong, then they're not happy because other people will pick the champion up, so he can't get his pick, and then people will start banning it. So you're never going to make these people happy. So it's getting more mana, and the cooldown on his W is going down considerably in the early game. Item changes. Yumu's recipe is changing. Is getting less attack damage, but is getting its movement speed back. See, here's the thing, man. So recently we had a whole change in items, and one of the things that Riot did was, oh, too many things give movement. Let's remove that because movement is too strong. Movement speed is too strong. It's slowly coming back. So, am I shocked? No, not shocked. So yeah, that's getting its movement speed back. Oh, okay. Interesting. They are swapping these about a bit. So the movement speed on opportunity is going away, and they're gaining it back with humans. So what they're doing... So So we're shifting both Opportunity and Yumi's Ghostblade in ways that on their surface appear power neutral. However, players can choose which items they want to buy. So a more focused Opportunity will be better for burstier assassins, and a more focused Yumus will be better for those that want to roam. So that's basically they're going, hey, you want to roam and have movement speed? Yumus. You want to burst things down more in 1v1? Opportunity. I mean, that's fine. Fair enough. Static Shiv. Again, a lot of AD carries still buy this, and I think, honestly, I think it's bait. I don't really think it's been that good for a long time, but yeah. We're reworking Static Shiv in order to resolve some design issues. It required very specific optimizations to maximize. It was a wave clear item that also slowly chipped down opposing champions, and it sneakily supplied a lot of teamfight burst that was hard to appreciate. We're giving this item a more straightforward set of uses while still being a cheap game wave clear item. So it's going down 200 gold. It's getting 5 AD less. It's getting 10% less attack speed. Ouch. And then it's remade is your first 3 attacks within 8 seconds fire chain lightning on hit, hitting up to 5 targets, including the attack target, for 60 magic damage, increased to 85 for minion and monsters, and then the cooldown of that is there. And then scoring a takedown resets the cooldown of this. So that's where, like, if you get a kill, well, then you can do Static Shiv again. You get another kill, Static Shiv again. So in a team fight, it's actually quite powerful. Okay, fair enough. Again, it is fundamentally supposed to be for like champions like Kai'Sa and Jhin that their wave clear isn't the strongest. It's to give them that option of having wave clear. That's the idea. But again, this is where, like, it depends where your ethos when it comes to champion design is. I'm in the ethos of it's a more balanced game if champions have fundamental strengths and weaknesses, and there's not items that cover off your weakness. It's like when AD carries had that Gale Force, when you had a dash. So Jhin, everything about Jhin is designed to be immobile, and then you could build a dash on him. That doesn't make sense. It's covering off a weakness. Static Shiv is covering off a weakness. It's covering off my champion doesn't have wave clear. I'm going to get wave clear now. I don't love that, you know, but it is what it is. Young Tal, this item does seem that it just hasn't worked. So we're remaking Young Tal Wild Arrows into an early game auto-attack crit item we promised earlier this year when we removed its pseudo-crit damage. Young Tal is meant to be purchased in the first slot. Really? But as a piece of a late-game crit build. It starts out weaker than its basically counterparts, so Essence Reaver or Collector. In-game Collector, I don't know if Collector's getting nerfed, but it probably should. Before scaling and surpassing them later in teamfight DPS. As with any significant updated system, we'll be measuring both its user base and its performance on those users to ensure it has its home. So it's 3,000 gold. Recipe has changed. It's getting 10% less attack damage. The crit of it is going away. Okay. It's getting 25% attack speed. This passive is going away, but it's gaining 2 new passives. First one, Practice Makes Lethal. On attack, permanently gain 0.2% crit chance up to 25. Oh, okay. So it's still having its 25% crit, but it scales every time you attack. So wait, how many times will that take? So if it's 5 times to get 1%. I'm getting my calculator out, hang on. So if it's 5 times for 1%, then 5 times 25, 125 attacks, if I'm not stupid, to get 25% crit. Does that count on minions, or does that count only on champions? That's the thing I would like to know, because if you averaged that, what? You're at least attacking... If there's 3 minion waves per minute, and there's on average 6 minions per wave, obviously 1 cannon wave per minute as well, so that's 7. But let's say on average you're attacking those minions once. 6 times 3 is 18. So at the bare minimum, if you just auto-attack each minion once for last hitting, you're attacking 18 times. Let's say within that minute you attack the enemy against you a couple times, and that's probably on the low side. So let's say 20 attacks per minute. So it would take you 7 minutes, 6 to 7 minutes to finish that full crit from buying the item. And that's probably on the slow side, because that's only counting that you're only attacking each minion once. You might attack each minion twice. That's only saying that you're going to attack, only attack the enemies twice per minute in 2 auto attacks. You might do it a lot more if a big team fight or a little skirmish happens. So realistically, after completing the item, maybe about 5 minutes after, you'll have its crit. And then the other passive is on attacking an enemy champion, gain 30% attack speed for 4 seconds. Woo! That's really good. And then it's a 40-second cooldown, reduced by 1 second each time that you attack something. But if you crit, it's a 2-second reduction of that. That's a much better item. Yeah, wow. That's a really good item. Who could I see buying that? Honestly, I'd like to say Jin, but I don't know. I don't think it's a bad item on Jin, but the problem is Jin is going to take longer to scale it up because he only gets 4 attacks, so he can't, like, really quickly do it. Kai'Sa, it could be good on if she goes a crit build, but obviously she's not really... A lot of Kaisas don't do crit anymore, they just do on-hit AP. Ashe, obviously, and obviously Ashe uses crit a bit differently, it's bonus damage and stuff, but that still could be good. Yeah, I do see a world that's actually pretty good. Barrier, the shield of it is going down by 20 each rank. Fair enough. It's been, like, obviously the main thing AD carries take for quite a while now. Smite, epic monster targeting forgiveness is being less forgiving. Oh. So we added targeting forgiveness to Smite last year to let players smite dragons even when an enemy champion is overlapping it. Since then, Void Grubs have been added, and it means that smiting over Void Grubs corpses will often target the closest leveling one. Wasting your smite like that feels bad, so we're reducing the target forgiveness. So that's hilarious. So for Dragon, it's better to be more forgiving, and Baron, it will be more forgiving, because that's the thing you definitely want to smite, because it's a big target. But when it's a Void Grub and it's really small, often it will be smiting the champion probably rather than the Void Grub. That's funny. ARAM, big update to ARAM. So we're getting the Bridge of Progress, celebrating obviously Arcane. I might make a video on it. I play ARAM from time to time. So who knows? Maybe I'll do some ARAMs later this week with the plebs, and maybe we'll have fun on that. Mythic shop rotation. Obviously, I did finally get the Shaco one I was after, and hilariously, I don't play a lot of Shaco anymore, but I'm sure I'll come back into it one day. Bug fixes, and then the upcoming skins. So what I would say is, if you made it this far, question of the day, do you guys think Ambessa's going to be balanced? Like, what's your prediction? Is she going to be really weak because they're kind of nervous, so they've made her numbers quite low? Or do you think she's going to be busted? I think, again, the thing I will say, I don't think, like, she's not a champion that everybody will be able to be good at. Like, she is a high mobile, high APM champion, so, like, she will be a higher rating skewed champion. I think she's going to be a nightmare to balance, but it might take a week or so for people to kind of get used to her. And that's where I do worry, because Riot has a massive history of a champion like SANTE releasing, or Ambessa, and they're very strong fundamentally, but people need time to get used to it. And Riot panic, going, oh no, they've released weak. They buff it after like 2 days, and then people work out how to play the champion, and then they completely dominate. I hope they don't do a panic buff, but I won't hold my breath, because Riot has done it all the time, and they never learn. But anyway, that's gonna be it. If you guys did enjoy, do throw a like on it, throw a comment, throw a subscribe, and I'll see you guys next time. Peace. Call down the reckoning.